Hello there, today I am bringing you the reading habits tag. The original of this was by the book Jazz, I will link that down below, and I saw this on Anna Scott's channel, which I will always also link down below. She didn't tag me per se, but she said anyone who wants to do this, and I thought I haven't done a tag in a long while, this sounds like an interesting one, so I'll do it. Basically, I have 11 questions here about my reading habits, so let's go. The first one is, do you have a certain reading place at home? Not really, to be honest, generally on the sofa, because that's where I sit. I don't really, a lot of people have said their beds for this, so I don't really read in bed. I might read a few pages before I go to sleep, but generally I don't read in bed because I find it less comfortable. So yeah, on the sofa, really. Oh, bear with me, the sun is coming in. Wait. Stupid blind. Right, so moving on. Number 2, bookmark or random piece of paper. Generally I use bookmarks. I used to use random pieces of paper, but yeah, now I use bookmarks. I used to be bad. I used to even use like folded up tissues and stuff. But especially now that I get off the book depository, a lot of the times when you order you get a free bookmark. Much fun, much excitement. So I've got a whole like pot of bookmarks I'll show you. This is my bookmark pod. At the moment it has 2 in it. So yeah, bookmarks these days, going up in the world. Number 3. Do you just stop reading or do you wait till the end of the chapter or a certain amount of pages? I do kind of like to round things up a bit. I'm not like anal about it. Sometimes I will just stop. But generally I like to either get to like a 40 or a 50, so like around 10 pages, or the end of the chapter is always good. Sometimes if I get to the end of the chapter I'll be like, oh, I'll stop now then, because yeah, no point starting a new one. Yeah, like I'm not too bad about it. If I have to stop, I stop, but I do generally like to round things up a little bit. 4. Do you eat or drink while reading? I drink, I suppose, nothing in particular, just whatever I've got in my glass. Eating's a bit more difficult because obviously you've got to hold the book open and eat. I do try it quite often actually. Might have a bag of crisps and a book. Never ends well. Always also ends in grease getting all over my book. In fact, this happened to me the other day. I was eating crisps, reading, and a bit of crisp fell into my book. I then forgot about it because it had fallen in a few pages ahead of me, and the next day I seemed to have these greasy, like where you put your thumb in the corner of the bottom bit, that was like greasy, and I was thinking I ain't got nothing on my thumb. Turned the page and there was a crisp that had just spread to all the other pages with its grease. So yeah, might not be doing that anymore. Number 5, do you listen to music or watch TV while you're reading? No, not really. I mean, we've always got the telly on in the background because my boyfriend watches it, but I don't really. I used to, admittedly, always have the telly on and read, and I used to sort of do a bit of both, but I'm not allowed to do that anymore because my boyfriend says, why should I be allowed to have something I want to watch on the telly if I'm going to be reading anyway? Which, you know, I don't personally agree with it, but that's the way it is. So, yeah, no, I just read these days. I don't listen to music while I'm reading, very rarely. I think I've done it a few times, but I just think, you know, you don't need music on. My favourite thing is when my boyfriend's not in, everything's turned off and I can just gouge on the sofa and read, because I find time goes really luxuriously slowly and peace. Number 6, do I read one book at a time or several? Generally one, to be honest. I'm not one of these people. I used to be when I was younger. I used to be awful. I used to start books everywhere and not finish them, and then start other ones because I used to get so excited by my newer ones. But no, nowadays I do read one book at a time just because I find that I'd lose interest and not end up finishing it if I was all over the place with them. Sometimes what I will do is read a fiction and a non-fiction at once, because I find I don't like reading just non-fiction because it's like I don't feel excited about picking it up, if you know what I mean. Whereas if I'm doing a bit of both and have a fiction going on the side as well, it makes me feel better about it. But that's all I do. I don't do 2 books at once. Number 7, do I read at home or everywhere? Mainly at home, to be honest, because that's mainly where I am. Obviously if I'm out, so I can't be reading. I'll read sort of on the train or in the car or whatever, but yeah, generally just at home. to be honest. Number 8, do I read out loud or in my head? In my head. I know, again, when I was a child, I used to read out loud, like whisper. It's strange, I know, but that happens. But no, now it's in my head, mainly because I'm always around people, so if I was reading out loud, A, it'd be really annoying, and B, they'd think I was stranger than I already am. Number 9, do I read ahead or skip pages? No, not at all. The only thing that does happen with me is that because I like to know how many pages my books have, I'll sort of skip ahead to sort of look at the page number, and every time, you can guarantee, because I'm thinking to myself, don't look at the last page, don't look at that, I'll see the last word or whatever, which actually so far hasn't been that bad. It hasn't spoiled anything for me. One day it's gonna happen. Skipping pages, no, the only one that I have skipped pages on is Alice Walker's book that I read recently, Now is the Time to Change Your Heart. I disliked it so much that I skipped the majority of it and found that I still hadn't missed anything, so that's the only time that's happened. So no, generally not, if I'm enjoying a book. Do I break my spines or keep them new? I used to not have any... This is a lot of I used to. Back in the time before BookTube. I used to not have an issue with breaking spines, and it never even crossed my mind, but since being on BookTube and watching BookTube videos, I've become really precious about my books, and I like pretty books, and I like them to look nice. I'm not too bad. If there's a few breaks, I don't mind, but it's when they're properly... Although, it is quite nice if I'm reading a book that I know I'm going to give away or not keep because it's just like a trashy enjoyment read, I will break the spines and it feels so good because it's just like, But generally, if it's a book that I know I want to keep on my shelf and that I'm going to keep for a long time, I will try not to. I'm not, like, anal about it. Like, I went through a stage of being like... reading it like to this little gap, but I don't do that anymore. If there's 1 or 2 or 3 breaks in it, that's fine. I think that's natural when you're reading a book just because of the way you open it and where the pages are, but I don't put too many in there. For 11, do I write in books? No, I don't. I haven't written in a book since like college. I just don't think it's necessary, really. I think it's a shame to write in it. Like, I've been doing it at the moment, actually. I have been doing it because of I'm writing a novel which is an epistolary novel, so it's written completely in letters, and I've been rereading We Need to Talk About Kevin for research purposes, and all I've been doing is every chapter I've just been sticking in a little sticky, and then with that sticky comes some notes that I've put in a pad. Problem solved. Don't need to write in the book. So yeah, that's all, and that was the last question as well, actually. So yes, who am I going to tag? Right, well, this is the first time I've ever really tagged people, so that's exciting. But I'm going to I'm going to tag Mel at the Book Moo because she often tags me, and this is the first time I've done a tag that I can tag her in. Woo! And I'm going to, again for the same reason really, tag Sam from Curls, Pearls and Other Worlds. I will link both of those down below. They're awesome, check them out. So yeah, get on that, guys. Other than that, they're the only people I can think to tag. So anybody else who wants to do this, feel free. It's good fun. So yeah, bye.